Right. It looks like it has slowed down with people logging on. So, for the sake of time, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Happy 2025. Super excited to see you. Saw a lot of you guys at Winter Summit, which was amazing, right? Loved it. Had a blast. Good job to Susanna and her team and her planning committee. Awesome theme. If you have a moment, feel free to log your attendance in the document that I'm going to put in the chat. Just add, excuse me, your name, your coalition name, if applicable, your LSAA, and just put a little one in the January tab column. Yeah. And we like to keep track and see how many folks are attending these meetings, and it helps us to know whether this information is valuable or not, which I'm sure it is, but in prevention, we're always evaluating, always watching. So feel free to do that if you have a moment, please. Just a couple quick reminders. Save the date for the Bryce Canyon Coalition Summit, which will be taking place this year from June 11th to June 13th. More information to come. I know the planning committee is already hard at work planning an awesome fun conference for us. Also, the Youth Leadership Summit will be June 30th through July 1st, also at Bryce Canyon at Ruby's. So that should be a lot of fun. More information to come on that one as well. I know the planning committee is working on that conference as well. And then, of course, Capitol Hill Day next week, Friday, January 24th at 7:30. And the planners did want me to mention that if anybody has any large groups of youth and you want to come a little bit earlier than 7:30 to rearrange the tables so that you can all sit together, you're totally welcome to do that. So without further ado, I will turn the time over to our awesome policy chair, Susanna Burt, who is going to help us prepare for 2025 Utah Capitol Hill Day. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks, Susanna.
You're welcome, and thank you so much, Heidi. It has been a blast this week. I've told everyone last night I was teaching a class and my brain just wasn't firing, and it's partly because I think I've reached my bandwidth. Like my flex capacitor was not working. Um, so I'm really grateful for my team. I will tell you right now, they did that conference, that summit, and it was beautiful to walk in and just like, oh, they did this. They did this. So shout out to the people who worked on the conference. It was amazing. So um but no rest for us. We're jumping right into the next legislative session. Starts in a few days. It starts officially on Tuesday, January 21st, and it goes until Friday, March 7th. So that is the time frame. We have 45 days of the session. And we're going to go over a couple things that are popping up. And I want to stress that while we're talking about this right now, we really want to encourage everyone to be thinking about this outside of that 45 days. Please remember that they are people our legislators are people that serve, well, they get paid for 45 days, but really they are serving us year round. And we want to encourage you to build those relationships, but we'll get to that. Okay. If you have any questions, put them in the chat or raise your hand, and I'll respond to them as best I can, as quickly as I can. So here's what we're going to cover for this webinar. I was like, let's say breakout, whatever, webinar. We're going to talk about the topics for next Friday that are really, really timely, that we want to make sure everyone sees and can prepare for. Talk to your youth, talk to your legislators, etc. We're going to talk about upcoming bills that you can choose to talk about next week, or really they're going to be something that's long-term throughout the session. And then I have specific tests for you and your youth. And then from yesterday, actually Monday, and a couple other things that popped up, I have some new resources that I wanted to share with each of you. So thank you again for taking your time to be here. I'm going to be as clear and as succinct as possible. and give you the information you need. Again, if I have things that are unanswered, ask me today. Okay, so for next Friday, the first thing I would like you to do, I would encourage you to do, let me rephrase that. The first thing I would encourage you to do is thank them for their continued support on eliminating e-cigarette flavors. This bill that we passed last legislative session, Senate Bill 61, passed by Senator Jen Plum, it continues to be under fire, and it currently has a restraining order, so it did not go into effect as anticipated on January 1. Here are some points. Flavors target youth. Like, there's enough research behind it, and I can get you the data. In fact, that's what I'm going through, is to get the actual research articles for you if you need them, that show that the flavors target youth. And then we have that the flavors hook the youth and they set them on that long-term path for dependence. Most adults who are using e-cigarettes and combustible tobacco, a lot of them, if they're, let's say they're like the 18 to 25-year-old age group is what I'm talking about, they started with some things with the vaping, with the flavored e-cigarette juice. So that's another research article that we have that we can send along. Okay, so that's first and foremost. Thank them so much for their continued support. The next thing is that we don't have a bill. There is potentially a bill, but is not dropped yet. We keep watching for it. But discussing the need for a solution on the vape modules that are collected at schools, okay? Right now, the schools are following law and they are collecting the e-cigarettes or the vaping modules that they find on youth or with youth. And that is great. We want them to, because it's the youth should not be having it. It's not paraphernalia in the sense of drugs, or illicit drugs, but it is something that's not what they should be using, because they should not actually be able to purchase it. But then they have the issue of, where do we put it? What do we do with it? So then the schools are collecting massive amounts of these vapes that they just kind of hoard because there's no good way to dispose of it. This creates an environmental and safety hazard for the staff and the students at the school. So we want to have a good solution. There should be, but things change as they often do in the legislative session, a bill coming from Jen Daly Provo, and we are waiting. We keep checking daily. I did not check today because I have not paused. So if Heidi wants to check that and see if it's there, that's a bill that is potentially coming out. And as soon as we know that, like if between now and next Friday it drops, we will let you know. Heidi, is it there or no? Oh, you're just giving me thumbs up that you're looking. Okay, good. But those are the main discussion points. The first discussion points I would encourage. I have a couple more going through there, but I'm going to pause. Questions at this point?
Susanna, I don't have a question,
Yes.
but I do want to let you know that over here in Cache in Box Elder County, one of our tobacco coworkers has done an amazing job with collecting the school vapes of all the students, and within the Cache landfill, we're able to dispose them there. So I don't know if maybe within talking about how ways to help the schools dispose of them, maybe we can somehow with other landfills, if that's something that also can be written within the legislative, or something like having the landfills be able to dispose of them, having like the schools be able to go and drop them off at the landfills.
I think that's a great discussion. I appreciate that your coworker is doing that, and I think that's wonderful. There are concerns with the type of batteries or materials that are in there. We just want to make sure that they are disposed of, again, properly, so that there's not a potential environmental hazard. So I don't know. Thank you, Heidi. I don't know how the landfill is set up. So I'm missing information. I just want to be clear on that. Missing information of Is there a solid way to prevent any leaching from in the landfill to the water? Oh, look, Bryce has a great thing. Your local health department, environmental health division. Like those are the things that I just want to make sure that it's getting disposed of properly and safely. And I agree. That might be something we look forward to is that Diane, you and maybe Bryce could help us identify who the environmental health people are in each county that we could then pass around, not necessarily county, but at least the health districts to pass out to the UPCA. That would be very, very helpful. Okay. Here are some other bills. So these are specific bills that actually did get dropped and are available. The first one is House Bill 100, and that is Representative Clancy, and it's a food security bill. And it's something that our some of our partners with the policy project. Oh, thank you, Heidi. Thank you for putting that in there. That is looking to make sure that youth in our state and in our communities have access to food, knowing that it's an issue. The things that you could highlight could be things like the benefits of breakfast or lunch on student success. It isn't just about giving them food, it's about giving them the resources to be successful in their academic career. And when a child is fed, there's enough research that shows that as they're fed, they are more successful with their academics. If they're more successful with academics, they then have a decrease in risks for substance misuse and abuse and mental health concerns. There is I know that's 3 steps, but that's a pretty clear connection of why when we look at these upstream strategies, we focus on things that could impact, again, the outcomes of substance use and mental health, which are things that we are obviously focused on. So that's Representative Clancy's bill. It's Bill 100. The policy project, so the Utah Policy Project is working on that. And we didn't want to necessarily have them take over. So we didn't have them join us, but we want to support, again, good bills. There's a method to this. When we tell them there are good bills, instead of saying we hate this bill, oh my gosh, I just noticed I left my placeholder on there. So don't ignore the SDL, JFK. That's how I should say bullets. Don't mind me. I probably have some more in here. When we can do things that are promoting a positive and say, this is a really great bill we would love to have and how it impacts our community, that's a good thing. Like they like to see, oh, it's not just you hate this bill. The other thing is that as we do and say, hey, here's a bill that's coming up, here's the benefits of it, it's a lot easier to say what the benefits of a bill are and having them buy into why this is a good impact for the constituents versus us saying, this is a terrible bill and why it's going to impact your constituents. They'll remember what they can do for their constituents to keep them, to help them be healthy. The next one is House Bill 54. So Representative Jen Daly Provo, JDP, if you hear us say JDP, that's who we're referring to. It's a hemp bill. What this does is it changes the language and amends it to help us understand and help retailers understand what they can have in their products. It looks at addressing specific cannabinoids, if I can speak today, in products. It does remove background checks for the processor license, but it requires the retailers to maintain a video surveillance system, which that's a big deal, and that they have proper license and that they can be in medicinal dosage forms. The specific ones for the analogs, the big thing about this bill is it changes and identifies which analogs, the THC analogs, can or cannot be in a CBD product, okay? That's where people are they're following the letter of the law with malicious intent. So that's one of the things. So that's another one that right now, as it is written right now, because again, things change, This is something that would positively impact the access for CBD or specific CBD products in our community. Questions on discussion points?
Hey, Susanna, this is
Yes.
Catherine. Are you gonna, and maybe you'll get to this, but are we gonna talk at all about the school cell phone ban bill?
Is there a different one?
Did you already cover it? And I
No.
missed, oh,
No,
okay.
this one that was passed last session. I hadn't seen a new one. I'm going to pull up my other document up here. Just a second. Where's my, because I have it ready to go to share what I was gonna, the USAID bills. I have school safety, firearm safety, citizen,
It looks like it's House Bill 270, but is that from last year?
I'm looking, I'm not seeing it.
Sponsored by Trevor Lee, representative.
I just saw, what did Trevor, was he on there? Oh my God, I saw another one from Trevor.
I think it must be from last year. I don't see it on here yet.
Okay.
Up to 222.
Yeah, and it was passed. So good, bad, or ugly, it was passed. I think that it is a great opportunity to have discussions within your community of how that impacts your youth and what that looks like for families. And as we move forward, Catherine, I think that's something that we bring up.
Cool. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to make a note. So Catherine just brought up a good point in my brain. As we transition, because Julie Anderson, Julie wave, and I'm like, just give a little wave. That's Julie Anderson. She's going to become our new policy chair. Here's the thing to know about us. I really enjoy policy, and I know that Julie enjoys policy. But that doesn't mean I know everything there is to know. And so when you bring up a bill, like I came back from my daughter's wedding and someone mentioned, oh, it was Heidi, I think. Did you hear about what was going on with Senate Bill 61? I'm like, what do you mean? I've been living in a bubble. And it just broke my heart. Like all of a sudden, all this changed. Like everything I was planning to talk about, even for today, changed. So please ask questions and don't think that we are uneducated. We just are learning, and it's a lot to keep up on. Last session, there was 1,500 bills. And oh, that's good to know, Natalie. But those are the things, like we have a lot that we're following for the next 45 days. And it's going to come fast. And things change on a dime. So just with that said, like we're going to spend a lot of time, and I'm really grateful that I'm going to have Julie a few days every week. And I'm going to harass her and enjoy spending time with her. We're going to carpool probably. It's going to be fun. But because there's two of us, then there will be at least two halves of a brain that will help us remember everything. So, yeah. Is that Heidi Baxley? Did you write that, Heidi? No, that's another Heidi. I'm like, I don't know which Heidi that is. But I believe there will be. I have not seen it drop yet on the bill list. But, and the question in the chat was, is there going to be a bill on 7-7? Yes, it is. Brian is not the daughter that you held as a baby, but yeah. She is the daughter you held as a baby is graduating this year. Yes, there is going to be things on psychedelics and psilocybin. You will see a lot of that kind of be pushed for and advocated for, and that's where we are really working on trying to stay on top of it. But there's nothing that's dropped just yet. And as soon as we have that, and I'll show you where you can find all the fun stuff in a minute. Okay. All right. So those are the discussion points for next session, for next Friday. So we've got, again, just reiterate. E-cigarette flavors, we appreciate their support. Can you continue to support, please? And that would be because it's already passed. All you're saying, here's why it's a great bill and we want to keep it. We need a solution for the vaping collection we have at schools. House Bill 100, the impact of school lunch and breakfast on student success, and then the impact of the hemp bill, House Bill 54, on the hemp products that are in our communities. Okay. Those are the things that we're talking about. Again, if something comes up, we will let you know as soon as we know. All right, so here's some fun things coming up. When we say this, not everything has a bill number, which is why we're bringing this up. So Representative McPherson has an open bill file on electronic cigarettes. We have no context on the text. There's nothing there, but we know that there have been a lot of efforts within the community for e-cigarette with their lobbyists, because they get to pay all they want, to impact Senate Bill 61 that was passed. So we're going to keep our eye on that, but it's Representative McPherson. The next one is Representative Jefferson Burton. So down in the Highland area, he has tobacco amendments. And that we hear, but there's no text to the bill yet, that it's going to address the electronic sales of cigars, which is odd because we already made that concession and that's allowed to a point. So we're not sure what that's going to look like. Okay. Keep going. Omnibus bill. So when we say the omnibus bill, should be one alcohol related bill every year. Why we need to have it every year is beyond me, unless you're doing something to like strengthen that policy instead of eroding the policy. But there has been some rumors. So again, that one has not been released. It will be through Karen Peterson in Layton. So Representative Peterson will be carrying that bill. But we've heard that the mini bottles discussion is coming back. So if you have the information, and I think we'll just send it out again, what Heidi created a year or two ago on the mini bottles, so that you have that information just to see what the harms and not the positive outcomes are with the mini bottles in our communities. So that's one of them. But in the flip side is Representative Monson, Logan Monson, down from San Juan area, is looking to open a bill with beer tax. Now, there's some interesting things with this because I don't think it has to go through the omnibus bill because it's dealing with a specific tax. It's not changing the policy in the sense of like changing the tax, but it's looking to open it and earmark it for prevention. So there are some really great things. We are going to look at that. We're going to discuss it. But I wanted to kind of give you guys some heads up and people that are looking to support or do different bills. And if you have another bill, like the cell phone bill from the Policy Project, or the psilocybin that you see, let's make sure, and I'm going to show you the places to go. And if it's not on there, text one of us and we'll make sure it gets on there. Okay. So this is just 4 things. And again, 1,500 bills last year. Currently, we already have, let's see, 21 plus, what's 21 and 14? 35? Okay, we already have 35 bills that we're tracking out of what's already been released. So there's so many different things that we could do that. So keep that in mind. Here are the tests for you all. And if you were at Winter Summit, you heard some of this, okay? But here's the thing I really want to encourage you. This week, between today is Wednesday, so between now and Tuesday, please reach out to your local legislators and invite them to the breakfast on Friday, January 24th at 7:30 in the Rotunda. That is the simple ask. You say, hey, we want you to come meet our youth, or we want you to come meet some of our members. That's what we would love for you to do. Please do that so that they have the time We are serving yummy food. There will be bacon, as I'm told the bacon is very important. It's important to me, but bacon. But do that. The next thing is that you're going to read up, well, not you are, I would like to, or encourage you to read up on what your local legislators have sponsored already for this session, or what they've sponsored in the past. That will take a little bit of time, and I'm going to show you how you find that out if that's the question. Oh yes, Kimberly is correct. Everything is better with bacon, even donuts. So find out what they already have a passion for. I'll use an example. So we have Representative Ryan Wilcox in our area here in Ogden in Weber County. He really has a passion for things that are related to law enforcement, veterans, school safety. Okay. How do I know that? A, I've worked with him a little bit. B, look at what he's sponsored. Look at what he sits on. So if he's on school safety committee or education committee, that's something he's going to be reviewing and looking at. Those are all skills or things that you should be looking and preparing for, so that we have discussions with them next week. You don't say, oh, we hate blah, 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 or how this is so terrible. If they own a restaurant or they own a bar, and telling them how horrible bars are, you're probably not going to get that traction. Same with like Mike Schultz owns or is involved with hotels. So knowing what his priorities are and what he does outside of it, that's a big deal. Okay. All right. And so that's for you guys, you on the call. But here's some things for your youth or your members. Okay. This is what Dr. David Jernigan mentioned, and Craig asked the question, what can we do in next week and what can we do in 6 months? Take the time to have your youth at your next meeting to go around the community or the area you serve to take pictures of all the alcohol, tobacco, or vape promotion. So if they're at 7-Eleven and they can say, if you're at the pump, for the gas pump, you can take pictures of all the marketing that's on there, or what's on the posts, what's on the door, what's inside, what do you see when you go into Smith's, etc. Create a mini report. So you can have like, here's everything we saw at 7-Eleven. Here's everything we saw at Conoco. Here's everything we saw at Smith's. And then take that to your local city councils. This is not a legislative issue right now. This is something that you take to your local city councils and coalition leaders. Okay. Yes. And the things that they do with the environmental scans for the youth, a lot of the health departments tend to focus on the tobacco, which is critical, and what we would look at with the vaping, but there's also things, let's look at with the alcohol as well in this. So when you start looking at the billboards in the area, I couldn't stand driving to work every day and going south on Washington Boulevard, they had Cozy Cocktails. And then coming back, I had 2 billboards for some gin company that were back to back. And I'm like, oh, like that's what we saw every day. Every day I saw it, and they hit it hard. So those are the kinds of things, if we work with our teams on what's out there, that you can do those environmental scans. Our health department has done a great training on it. So they come out and help your youth understand what they're looking for, because this isn't a gotcha. This isn't a, hey, you're doing a bad job. We want to raise the awareness with our communities. This is something they can do. And if the retailers have a concern, because the first ask is, hey, would you mind, decreasing the number of ads? They may have a contract. Talk to our city councils and see if there's something we can do that's appropriate. Looking at what the preemption laws are. I'm figuring these out now. What that means is like, is there something that's already in place that allows them the retailer to market X number of pictures, and is that static? Like you can't change that at the local level, you have to go to the state. I don't know, like there's lots of things in place there. Okay, so those are the tasks If you are overwhelmed by the legislative session, here's some things for you guys to do here locally to kind of get your feet wet and get your kids involved if they don't have the ability to go up to Capitol or whatnot. Okay, now here are some resources. This comes from yesterday's information with Dr. Crosby. That was Flavor Hooks Kids and the Public Health Playbook, Ideas for Challenging the Corporate Playbook, the Lancet Global. I had not found this. By the way, I made this up. I did not make this up. I drafted this last night, and that's why I'm a little exhausted. Okay, just so we can pause. Bryce put in the chat, are there things, so Bryce, if you are in a place that you can unmute, I'm going to ask you a question. You said many municipalities already have ordinances. Is that something that we can then address with our local cities as well still, if we say, hey, we want to drop that to 25% kind of obscured?
You could. Again, a local coalition really would have a lot of power in the youth groups. Susanna, you live in our area, and I think we'd be hard pressed to find half of the stores on Washington Boulevard, at one of our main roads here, that fit 30 to 40%.
Yeah.
So even just having and educating the local municipalities and saying, here's some stores that maybe aren't following the ordinance. If they just enforce this, we could never go in and say you have to take down your tobacco or alcohol ads. But again, just by enforcing this, a lot of those ads would come down because most of them are tobacco or alcohol.
Okay, that's a great point. And I apologize that I bring that up. What Bryce just mentioned is that part of when we do, I'm going to go back a slide. Part of when we do this, it's to look to enforce what's already on the books. So it isn't necessarily, again, we don't want to do a gotcha. We want to get people doing what's already in place and following through with it, because they were put in place because they are really, really healthy for our communities. So keep that in mind. Thank you so much, Bryce. Anyway, so that there is a document, I'm going to find it and I will email it out to Heidi as soon as I search it. But if you decide to search the Public Health Playbook, Ideas for Challenging, it's in the Lancet Global. And I even wrote down who wrote it, which was Lacy, LACY-NICHOLS in 2022. So that's what I'm going to be, I'll put that in the chat in a minute. Anyway, then I played around last night on Follow the Money or Open Secrets. Apparently they actually merged. So this was one that came from Dr. Jernigan. He suggested we look at this and to see where people are getting their money, even locally, like our representatives and our senators for our state. There's some vagueness to it, so I wanted to find out a little bit more information, because like they have ones that are transfers from different accounts, and then they have one that's unnamed or undisclosed or non-disclosed. So again, I want to follow up a little bit more, but I did find a couple of people that received tobacco money specifically, and that impacts, again, how they may feel about policy. So that's something to follow our elected officials and what they receive for their campaign contributions. The last two, so you have le.utah.gov, and I'm going to stop sharing this screen for a minute. And I'm going to share my other screen. Okay, so here is, so you should be, great, you can see this. So you've got this as your legislature. state legislature website. I am great today. So someone other than me put an elected House or Senate, local House or Senate person in the chat, and whoever gets it in first is who I'm going to look up. Anyone? Okay, Logan Monson. Great. He does have that. And then I'm going to look up Angela Romero, Steve. And it's really great to see you on here, Steve, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to go to legislators. And I know that Logan Monson is in the House. So I'm going to go down here because he was, I never remember which number he was. There he is. This is Logan Monson right here. Okay, so if I click on this picture, I can go to sponsored legislation. Guess what? He doesn't have anything here, but I know that he's submitted a bill. And so he's waiting to see it search there. But that's going to tell me if he's submitted something. Now I'm going to go back to here and look at my roster, and Angela's going to be closer to the top. Got some good women in here this year. There's Angela. Okay. So this is Angela, and I can click on her registration, and here are her sponsored legislation right now. So you got murdered and missing Indigenous relatives, limitations on polygraphs, Indian Family Preservation Acts, ballot proposition, and murdered and missing Indigenous amendments. Okay. Then she has sex offense amendments, and that one's in process. So if they are numbered, so this is when we say they're numbered, this is what we mean, this lovely link. So if I go to here, it's going to give me her proposed language that she submitted that has gone through their attorneys, the legislative attorneys, and they are looking to bring it forth in the session. Once you're in here, you can look at fiscal note. There was, apparently there's an error. So, but let's go back for a second. Let's see if any of them work on this. Let's go here. Is there a fiscal note? How irritating. But this tells you who's impacted by it, and usually there's a fiscal note. Now, a lot of them are probably not putting fiscal notes in just yet, but that's what you get when you look here on their specific legislation. Okay, take the time to find who is your representative. So if you are looking for who's my representative, guess what? You can go to representatives and find your representative and put your own address in here. I'll put mine in there right now. And because it's going to tell me because I put the whole thing in there. Find. Those are my representatives. And now that y'all have just seen my address, but those are my representatives. Okay. That's how you can find your own people that serve so that you can follow up on them. And then I can just click on Ryan and I can click on his sponsored legislation. And here's what he already has filed. Here's what he's looking at. And those are all the bills. That's a lot of bills for one person, by the way. So I'm telling you this because you are going to find things that are close by your area that you may want to follow that come up before we notice them. Because what we will have, go back over here, and that's the link that's in the slide. This is the USAVE 2025 bill tracker. The bill tracker addresses any bill that looks at things impacting substance use and mental health. That could be things dealing with jails. It could be things with prisons. It could be law enforcement. It could be the state hospital down in Provo. It could be schools. It could be surveys. All of those things we're going to be looking at and following for the session. And then what Liz has done, not Liz, sorry, Mia. Mia has done is she's identified which subcommittee. So if you see in here, prevention subcommittee. So we will discuss as a committee this bill. Okay. That's what we do every week. Every Thursday, our Utah Prevention Advisory Committee will review this. And every Monday, we meet as USAVE executive and we share what we find or what we discuss from our work groups. So those are things that we will do every week throughout the session. All right. We can only view it. We can't do anything to it. Only Mia has access to that. But we have priority and non-priority and what we will be watching. And you can look at that as well. Okay. Questions so far?
Where did you say we could find the public health playbook at?
Lancet Global. I'm going to search it right now because I'm going to put the person here because it's Lacey Nichols J. To public health playbook. Okay. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to put it in the link or in the chat. And this is there we go. Here's the playbook right here. Okay. So, sorry, my computer just blipped. That's the public health playbook. That's one of the things that if you look at it, for those of you who weren't able to join us, the public health playbook tells us as local constituents and people involved in public health what the corporate side for anything pretty much what they're using to market to us. And what did they put? There's predatory marketing. I like there was other one. I wrote it down. Sorry, I liked this quote that Dr. Crosby said. There's wealth creation over health protection. And this allows us to really promote the public health. And it shows us how we can adapt and evolve to be better at supporting things that impact our community and how we can counteract what the corporate side is doing, the commercialization. For those of you who weren't there, it was commercial determinants of health. Fascinating discussion, and I love it. So that's what I had, and I'm going to click to the next slide just in case. So the thing I like this quote, if we're really, really doing more and we're, and it doesn't even have to be more. It could be 4 emails. 4 emails. I know we write hundreds and thousands a month, but even if we take the time to reach out to our legislators or to our mayors or our city council, they only hear people screaming and yelling often. We want to give them opportunity to be involved in something positive and that's engaging in their local community so that they can see the impact that is good. We want to create that community norm. So I'm going to stop sharing. And then if you have questions, we have 18 minutes. And I'm going to stop share as soon as my mouse works. There we go.
Susanna, can I just say something from the legislative web page? One of the things that I really like is it allows you to track those bills. If you notice it said track this bill. The great thing about that is you don't have to constantly be thinking, and what was that bill I was tracking?
Yeah.
It makes you a list. And so then you can go in and check on it. You do get updates with emails, and it kind of takes some of the work out of where we're at in this bill and will allow you the time to make those determinants that you need to talk to your legislatures. So.
Thank you, Julie.
Well, if no one has any questions,
I'm just wait a minute. I'm like, I'm just waiting because sometimes they percolate and
Yeah.
you're about it, but I don't want to waste people's time. I want to make sure that you have all that you need. So I'm trying to find something to post about this. Yes, I was trying to find the picture of the said married daughter. That's what I'm looking for. So I can post for a second, Brian. Ellen, you can say thank you to me all you want. I'm just grateful that you got your freaking so engaged that he's so involved. Let's see, did I save it in here? How did I not save this picture? Okay, I'm gonna be dumb and because I didn't download it. Here's one of my favorite pictures. So here's the first picture, and I tease her all the time because she looks like me. But there's my child.
oh,
And then I'm going to show you my other one that I like it because it just looks so intimate. Like you caught that and that like, anyway, he's my new favorite child. And I don't have a son, so I can just say he's my favorite son. Yes, Karen, that child does look like me a lot. She's my mini me at 21. So, okay. Oh, thank you so much, Steve. They have Elaine put in the chat the policy project. So thepolicyproject.org. It's a good way to follow some of the things. They are a great group that looks at some really good public policy for our communities. So that's another good place. And I'm really happy for them too. And she's texting me right now, like literally right now. And because I'm going to go see her in 2 days. Great. All right. If there are no other questions, you know how to reach us. You can reach us. I can't promise you I will respond great, like immediately, but I will find answers and I will at least send it out through UPCA. So be looking for those emails. And I really appreciate all of you taking the time today and working so hard on this to improve our communities and keep them healthy. So have a great day, and I'll see some of you in a couple of days.
thanks,
Okay.
Susanna. Thanks, everybody.